Hi, this is Dasha. This is my day 5 of the Talking to the Camera challenge, and today I want to talk about working from home 101. First of all, those of us who do work from home, we do know that this is at the same time bliss and hell, so two for the price of one. There is too many benefits and disadvantages for me to list, but definitely there are some things to make working from home comfortable for us that I'm going to be touching upon today. The most important thing to me personally is a good working from home setup. I do absolutely adore my work from home setup. My desk is a little bit too small, but at the same time I feel like I make use of the space that I have efficiently. My second screen is hanging above my desk on a monitor arm, and that's actually very convenient because I have space to move my mouse and move my arms if I need to. I'm not going to go into detail about all the benefits of the proper equipment when you're working from home, like having that second screen or having a wireless keyboard and mouse, or a good speaker or quality headphones. But at the same time, it's worth remembering that when employers have their employees work from home, often they do offer to pay for that equipment to ensure that their setup is as comfortable as possible. I'm super glad that when I first set up to work from home, I checked with my company in how they can offer to support me with that, and they did cover a lot of the cost of the equipment that I needed to continue working from home. I'm also very conscious about separating my desk setup from the places where I have fun and rest, and while living in one room in a studio it's not necessarily possible to the full extent, I still aim to never eat at my desk and never use my personal devices at my desk. If I need to unwind or watch something in the evening, I'm usually sat on my bed. I'm making kind of a sofa out of it so that my workspace and my rest space are separate. Speaking about productivity and actually completing the tasks at hand when working from home, I find to-do lists the most useful for me personally. I love different kinds of lists. Just ticking off anything at all, however small a task, makes me feel so accomplished and so happy and gives me that dose of, whatever hormone makes you feel good. I manage my whole life through a task manager, and work is not an exception, so whenever I get any projects at work that I have to complete or any smaller tasks, I enter them all into my inbox because otherwise I struggle to keep them all in my head. Obviously, having a work to-do list is a good advice in general, whether you're working from the office, from a work environment, or from home, but especially when you're working from home, because when we are in a familiar environment, it's more difficult, at least it seems to me that it's more difficult to keep all the tasks in your mind. And especially if we have multiple projects that we're working on, keeping a to-do list really helps to keep track of progress and see where we are. Whenever a task hits my email inbox or somebody asks me to do something on Teams, I enter it into my to-do straight away, just because as soon as I get distracted to cook lunch or something, I will forget about it. That's just my memory and attention span. It's the size of a toothpick. So I do have to rely on to-do lists to keep myself focused and accountable. This next one is a little bit more specific to me, and I'm sure that not everyone would benefit from it or even consider incorporating it into their work from home routine, but I personally wear earplugs when I work. There are multiple reasons for that, and first of all, I live in a house share. I used to have flatmates who would sing very loudly. I used to have flatmates who would argue loudly in shared spaces. I need to isolate myself from those noises even though I am in a separate room. We have very thin walls in our house, and it's almost impossible to escape hearing the sounds of lives of 5 other people in here. So earplugs really help me with that. And secondly, I do live in a studio, and I do share my studio with a so-called cohabitant of mine. That's my hamster. Her name is Capuchinka Pucha. And she loves running in her wheel, and when she runs in her wheel it makes a noise. And given that Pucha is a very active hamster and she has a very loud wheel, I have to deal with this noise on a permanent basis. To be able to isolate myself from that, I do wear earplugs to be able to focus at work, but of course I do check on Pucha multiple times a day to make sure that she gets attention that she needs. And in general, if you face any noise when you're working, whether you're working from home or from another location like the office or a cafe, Earplugs really help you narrow down your attention to the task at hand and isolate yourself from anything that's happening around you. It's a 10 out of 10 I would recommend from me. I feel like there are very few people for which their job is also their hobby and the first thing that they would choose to do in life. If your job is also your hobby and this is something that you want to do primarily in your life, I consider you a very lucky person. For the majority of people, completing their job and finding the motivation to do so can be very difficult. And especially if you work from home, where there are so many distractions, where you can do the stuff that you usually do to unwind, choosing to complete your job can be very daunting. So I found a solution that works specifically for me. I decided to rewire my brain to link completing my job with some little treats that I give to myself. I queue the tasks at work that I struggle to find motivation to complete right after some little things that bring me enjoyment. For example, on a morning, I trained myself to first drink a nice mug of latte and then power up my laptop and check my emails and start getting into my work routine. Putting this task right after enjoying my morning coffee makes it an automatic habit of mine. It makes it easier to complete. I don't have to think about it. I just cue it after something that I already enjoy and do on a regular basis. So if you already have things in your routine that you really enjoy doing, try queuing the stuff that you don't want to do right after those little treats that you have for yourself. With time, our brain learns to take it as granted and we complete things without having to think about them as much. A small but effective one is having plants right next to your workspace. It has been proven that looking at plants around us helps us to improve our productivity, to have more focus, and to have more motivation to complete our work. I have two massive monsteras right on my windowsill, they're right there, and I look at them every time I'm sat at my desk. The sunlight coming through the window and dropping onto the leaves of my plants actually improves my mood a lot, and I feel calmer and more resilient. Also, anytime I need a break from the screen, I can just look not at the blank wall but at the plants right on my window, and that kind of boosts my energy a little bit. You don't need anything big, you don't need a jungle in your room, just get yourself a pot plant, name him Bob, put him on your desk. It will definitely have an impact on how you feel during your work day if you're working from home. Probably one that's most difficult to complete when you're constantly in your home space is having a tidy environment, but it's so crucial for being able to focus. I'm a clean freak, so I cannot imagine having to work when my bed is unmade, when there are dirty dishes in my sink, when my stove is dirty. I need a completely clear space around me to be able to focus on the work and to give all of my energy to work. When I look at the mess, I drain my energy to zero very quickly. Just having to look at the mess around us can be super exhausting, so I make sure that before the start of any work day that I have, my space is as tidy as I can possibly make it. I spend time on a morning or on an evening, it doesn't really matter, to make sure that the next time I will have some work to do, I will be able to sit at my desk and just straight away dive into it without having to drain any energy looking around me thinking, oh, after that I'll have to do my dishes, after that I will have to do the laundry, etc, etc. So just making sure that your space is as tidy as it possibly can be will be really helpful for your productivity. You will be able to focus all of the energy you have on the work you have at hand. And I understand it can be difficult having to spend time either before the start of the workday or spending that energy after work to have to clean your place and making sure that it's spotless, but that's not necessarily the point of this exercise. The point is just to make sure that all the things are tidied away and that the space that you work at, necessarily your desk and the surrounding area, don't have anything on the surfaces that will distract you. Even that will have a massive impact on how you work and on how you feel during that workday. Highly recommend trying that because to me it works like magic. Although thinking about it, I am a clean freak who has her spices organized alphabetically, so who am I to give advice on that? The last point is a bonus point from me just because I am currently trying to solve this issue myself, and that's post-lunch energy dips. We have lunch and then we want to just go to sleep. We don't have any energy to come back to our work and to do what needs doing. I still haven't found a complete solution to that. So far, what's been working for me is having smaller meals more frequently throughout the day. So instead of having a big lunch, I will have breakfast, lunch, a snack in the afternoon. That helps me not have this energy dip in the afternoon after lunch, just because my body is not spending all of its energy trying to digest a big meal. And I've recently asked a close one what works for him when he works from home, and I've been told that daily walks, even if it's 20-30 minutes before or after lunch, helps him retain this energy in the afternoon, and it actually makes it the most productive time for him. So I will take this advice myself and try to go on a walk even for a little bit every single day, because right now I am guilty of sometimes staying at my home for 2-3 days in a row without leaving it unless I go grocery shopping to the nearest shop or something like that. So yes, breaking down your meals into slightly smaller ones but more frequent, and also going for a brief walk before or after lunch helps you retain this energy after lunch and be able to continue working productively for the rest of the day. So these are just a few things that I found useful for myself while working from home in the last couple of years. I hope this video was either entertaining or useful for you, but even if neither, at least it gave me a topic to discuss on my day 5 of the Talking to the Camera challenge. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!